Alright guys, welcome back. We're going into the second part of our notes for biomolecules. Right now, remember, right now there's going to be part 3 and part 4 going over the functional groups for our biomolecules. Right now we are just learning the overall information that we need to know. So last video we learned about carbohydrates and we learned about lipids. Now we're moving on to proteins and nucleic acids. So we are still so it's part 2 for biomolecules, and we are still working on identifying our 4 biomolecules. This is what we're still working on, is being able to identify and understand the 4 basic biomolecules for life. Like I said before, we covered carbohydrates and we covered lipids. Now we're going into proteins. Proteins is something that we consume, whether you're a vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, herbivore. We ingest these every single day. So proteins are the nitrogen-based compounds we absorb through our food, through our drinks, like protein shakes, milk, and stuff like that, that are called amino acids. And that's an A. I'm going to draw it out a little bit more. So amino acids. And like I said, we ingest these for many reasons. So you can take these in by eating and consuming animal products, or even vegetarian and vegan options. So some of the functions of the proteins that we ingest is to build. I need a book or something because this dang mat that's under my thing, it's not wanting to let me write. So do this way. Is to build and maintain muscle. So when you flex your biceps, your arm muscles, even you moving your cheeks as you talk and eat, those are muscles that you're constantly moving. Especially if you're one of my athletes, or you're one that likes to run and work out. When you work out, you make little micro tears in your muscles. You consume proteins to be able to go and repair those tears in your muscle, and to be able to possibly build your muscle up, or just repair the little bit of damage that you do to it when you work out. That when we damage that muscle, it goes back and fixes it, and just like your skin, when you tear your skin open and you get a cut, it heals itself. When you eat the protein, it heals that tear in that muscle to be able to make that muscle stronger. And sometimes if you're wanting to do bodybuilding, it makes it bigger. Protein is also used in our body tissue composite. So like your kidneys, your liver, your heart, your intestines, all your organs that are inside your body, your skin. Those are all made up of proteins. Your hair is actually made up of proteins. Specifically, a hair called keratin makes up your hair. The protein keratin makes up your hair. Protein also contributes to the functioning, to your immune system functions. So when you go to fight an illness, when you have allergy issues, you have antibodies in there, which are made up of proteins that go and fight these foreign substances that come into your body that try to make you sick. So, sorry, that's functioning. Excuse me. And if you've never heard of the word enzymes, so all enzymes are what we call catalysts. It speeds up a reaction. So say like if you're trying to ingest something or digest something to break it down, we can pull enzymes in to make that process go faster. So when we talk about the monomers for a protein, the monomers are called amino acids. So it's amino acids. Okay. I'm not going to make you memorize all 20 of the amino acids. There's like 22. All I want you to know and to memorize is that there are 20 different amino acids. If I star something or highlight something, remember that is important. It's going to be on your test. So if I ask you on a test, how many amino acids are different types of amino acids are there that we use on a daily basis? You should put the number 20. So many of y'all are probably accustomed to some of the protein choices. And here's just a little picture of it. You have chicken, you have yogurt. Greek yogurt specifically is higher in protein than regular yogurt. You have ground beef, you have sirloin, you have shrimp, cottage cheese, turkey, different types of seafood, not just cod or salmon, but you have tuna, you have shrimp, crawfish, crab, lobster. All of those are protein choices. There are some on here that are vegetarian choices that are not present, like your tofu, like your beans and legumes, protein shakes, protein bars. Those are all good sources of protein that help you maintain your muscle and the muscle function and all of the other things that we've listed here today. So for some examples that you may list on your test is meat, whether it's beef, pork, chicken. You have seafood, whether it's crab, lobster, shrimp, crawfish, different types of seafood. You have egg whites, not the egg yolk, the yellow part, but the egg white. The clear stuff that comes out of the egg when you crack it, and then it turns white when you cook it. That is all protein. There's no fat in it, and there's no carbs. You have tofu for my vegetarian and vegan friends out there. You have dairy, like I said, the Greek yogurt, cheeses, milks. You have beans. I have seafood, protein bars and shakes. There are many, many more. So those are some examples of our protein sources. Now when it comes to the structure, this is one of your basic structures. We're just going to a basic one. We're not diving into the functional groups or anything right now, just the basic structure of an amino acid chain. So again, remember a monomer for protein is an amino acid. And the basic structure that I want you to know right now, today, like I said, we're going to dive into the functional groups that make up these amino acids later. Right now, all I want you to know is it's little circles that are connected by a bond. Okay? So each one of these circles is an amino acid. They can be the same and they can be different. But but each one of them are bonded together to make a protein. So now that we're going to go down to defining a couple of more terms. You have peptide. Peptide is a very short chain of amino acids to make a small protein. All right? So again, a peptide is a very small chain of only 2 amino acids. So 2 amino acids form a chain to make a protein. Sorry, I ran out of room, so I'm just going to put it right here to make a protein. Now let's go down to, so if we look at a peptide right here, a peptide would be 2 amino acids bonded together. Polypeptide is a huge chain of amino acids forming a huge protein. So polypeptide is 50 or more amino acids in a chain that make a protein. So let me get my little thingies again real quick. So I got me some more little fuzzy balls. So if we take my little fuzzy pom-poms here and we bond them, here, say I have 1 amino acid, and now they're bouncing all over the place. 1 amino acid here in my hand. Bond these two another amino acid together, makes a peptide. And if you can imagine 50 of them going around, so pretend I'm laying 50 of them out, they make a polypeptide. Okay? So now we're moving on from proteins to my favorite thing of all in biology and chemistry. So if you can guess, I'll give you a couple of hints of what, because our fourth one is nucleic acids. I'm going to give you a couple of hints and see if you can figure out what nucleic acids are. They make you up who you are. You get part of it from your mom, get part of it from your dad. They determine your genetic makeup, your eye color, your hair color. Have you guessed what nucleic acids form in your body? If you possibly guessed your DNA, you are amazing, you are a genius, and you are correct. If not, there's no worries. We're going to go into it right now. So nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are the large biomolecules that make us who we are. So the way we look, the way we sound, is all determined by our genetic makeup, by our DNA. Whether you're short, whether you're a little bit heftier, a little bit more of a big person or a small person, whether you have large feet, small feet, brown hair, blue eyes, is all determined by your nucleic acids. The function of the nucleic acids is to make DNA and RNA. Your RNA, specifically, your RNA leads to protein production. So what happens with this is the DNA is made in the nucleus. All right, so your DNA is inside the nucleus of your cell. It is then transcribed into RNA. RNA is formed, is then given some little modifications to protect it. That RNA is shipped outside of the nucleus, and that RNA is then taken in, done a little bit more modifications to it, and then is transcribed into the proteins that make your skin, make your nails, make your hair, and determines whether you're fair skin, dark skin, you have freckles, whether you're 10 feet tall, 3 feet tall, if you have big feet, small feet. This is what determines who you are. Your DNA that leads into your proteins. So now that we've decided that, the monomer for your nucleic acids is called a nucleotide. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a pronunciation real quick. I meant to write this down a second ago. How to pronounce this. Nucleic. And then acid. So for nucleotide, you have nucleotide. So nucleotide. Your nucleotides have 3 components to it. So it is made up with a phosphate group on one side, phosphate group on one side of a 5-carbon sugar. Remember what a five-sided figure is called? A five-sided figure is called a pentagon. And then on the other side of that 5-carbon sugar is a nitrogenous base. So nitrogenous base. So those are the 3 components of of your nucleotides. I was about to say amino acid, but that's protein. So a nucleotide is made of those 3 components. I'm going to come down here and just draw it out. So on one side, you'll have a phosphate that is bonded. Do your best in drawing. I'm not the best drawer. I'm trying to use a little framework to be able to help me so you can see exactly what I'm doing so it's not all kinds of wonky. And then on the other side of that 5-carbon sugar is my nitrogenous base. You can see it where the phosphate is on the left-hand side and nitrogenous base is on the right, but you can also see it flipped because you have two strands of DNA. They can be flipped. So if you see it on this side, just like this, it does not matter. It's just phosphate is on one side, nitrogenous base is on the other. They're on opposite sides of each other with the carbon sugar in the middle. So this is my phosphate. Nitrogenous base. And this is my 5-carbon sugar. Okay. And that's the same thing with the one on your right-hand side. Now, I'm not going to make you memorize the 20 amino acids. All you need to know is there's 20. But for your DNA, you will have to memorize all 4 nitrogenous bases that make up your DNA. You, me, your mom, your dad, your auntie, your uncle, we all share the same 4 bases. They're just in different rearrangements from you to I. That's how we are different. So the 4 bases that you have to memorize are these. And I'm going to even write it down here. The little star. I'm going to write it in black and then I'm going to highlight it. So it's the 4 nitrogenous bases. You have adenine. So adenine. Oh, I was trying to do a B. It's not a B. So 2 is guanine. So this is a G. Guanine. You have excuse me. You have thymine. And you have cytosine. So those are the 4 nitrogenous bases for DNA. And those are your 4 biomolecules. Oh, I didn't show you this. If you've never seen it, it's like from one of your sci-fi movies or from a movie. You've probably seen this image before. But that is what your DNA looks like. That is a DNA strand that is inside your nucleus. So right through here is your phosphate groups with your 5-carbon sugars. And in here is your nitrogenous bases that are bonding together. That is what your DNA strand looks like. So again, I'm going to go run through this real quick as a recap. Let me find my other sheets real quick. So we have, where's the other one? I'm missing, I have, here we go. All right. So we have our carbohydrates, our first sheet. 4 basic molecules that needed for life, your biomolecules. That is your definition for biomolecules. Your monomers are basic building blocks that make up your biomolecules. So it's a single piece bonded together, one on top of each other. Remember my little fuzzy balls that are bonded together to make a biomolecule. Carbohydrates are a food source that are organic sugar compounds. They provide a quick source of energy. Some examples. The monomer for a carbohydrate is called a monosaccharide. is the monomer for carbohydrate is a monosaccharide. The shapes can either be a hexagon or pentagon that you will see. They can be bonded together. You can have two pentagons bonded. You can have two hexagons bonded to make a disaccharide. So a disaccharide is two monosaccharides bonded together. Trisaccharide is three, and poly is four or more. Then we go to our fats. Our fats are just organic compounds. Remember, organic, all that means is carbon and hydrogen. And that lipids have a few high oxygens thrown in there. They are not soluble in water. They do not mix with water. They're the longest source of energy that we have. They're an insulator, form cell membranes, and there's some of our examples. There's two pieces that make up this monomer for our lipid. One piece is called the glycerol backbone, right here. And then we have three fatty acid tails. We went over saturated and unsaturated. So saturated means only single bonds are present. All hydrogens have the max number of, all carbons have the max number of hydrogens that it can hold. And it looks like this. Unsaturated, at least one double bond is present with a minimum of two hydrogens missing. It looks like this. And a polyunsaturated means there's two or more double bonds present with a minimum of 4 hydrogens. It looks like that. So proteins are our nitrogen-based compounds called amino acids. Forgot to do there. They build and maintain muscle, the body tissues of our body. Hair contributes to the immune system functioning. And it also forms enzymes that increase the speed of a reaction. The monomers are called amino acids, and there are 20 different ones. Some examples: the basic structure of a protein with our amino acids bonded together. Definition for peptide: 2 or more amino acids bonding. Polypeptide is 50 or more. Then we went on to our nucleic acids. Nucleic acids are the larger biomolecules that make us who we are. Our wonderful and lovely DNA. These are huge. If you were to take your entire DNA, stretch it out, it would go around the earth multiple times. So it makes our DNA, our RNA, which then is used to form our proteins that are in our body. The monomer for a nucleic acid is called a nucleotide, and it contains 3 different parts. You have the phosphate group, you have the 5-carbon sugar, and the nitrogen base. And remember, you're going to need to know what that shape is called. A 5-sided figure is called a what? So remember, 5-sided figure is called a pentagon. Then the 4 nitrogenous bases that you must memorize: adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. And those are our biomolecules. Next time we meet, we will be going over the functional groups of these biomolecules. Till then, see you and have a great time.